years, 5, 6 years.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I've been in insurance about 5 to 6 years.
Okay, so you're an agent. What do you do there?
Yes, I'm an agent. So I have my health license as well as my property and casualty. So basically what that means, I can sell anything: auto insurance, home insurance, well, anything in Georgia, life insurance, anything like that. So I'm actually the office manager, and we're actually getting ready to open a second location.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's pretty exciting. It's busy, I can say that. And even during the pandemic, I would say we didn't miss a beat because everybody needs insurance, something required to have in most states. So very profitable, and we're able to keep it going.
Yeah, I was going to say, it ain't like y'all should have had a dip in what needs to be done. Insurance, you gotta have insurance no matter what the heck going on.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, I'm going to put up here on the screen, I want to go through your questionnaire because I know we've had a call before. Talk to me a little bit, before I read through this, talk to me a little bit about what changed since the last time we spoke. Or had you thought of it? Go ahead.
So basically right now, where I'm at, where I'm trying to go, or where I'm going, I should say, I work full-time in insurance, and then, I do my Eat with Soul business part-time when I have time, or I try to alternate weekends, etc. My end goal is to next year open my own all-state office, because doing so will provide me the capital to, support my currently smaller businesses, if that makes sense. But just really lost in how to do two things at once, number one. And a lot of times I'm too tired, to be honest, to work on my small business, or I have so much stuff going on, it becomes a little difficult.
Okay, so time management is what I'm hearing.
Basically, yes. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So time management is the issue, because you want to continue working for Allstate right now.
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
So let me ask you that. Is that why? Because that's part of your long-term plan, or is that just because you see the capital from there because you work for somebody? So right now that's guaranteed money. What's the driver for your continuing to work for Allstate?
Because I actually do want to open my own Allstate office next year. So
why is that? Why is that something? I mean, is insurance where you want to be?
Yes, I feel like this is how I came up with this plan of what I want to do. I've been in this industry 6 years, and it doesn't matter how many years you've been in the industry. Of course, you can change at any time. However, I feel confident in this industry. I feel very knowledgeable here. And not only that, having an Allstate office will present me the opportunity to make more money and be able to support or later on open other businesses, similar to what my boss is doing and that I'm actually witnessing him doing. He is about 35 years old. He's Haitian, a Black guy. So I kind of admire that. Also, it helps me be able to present opportunities to other people, the same as we have in my office, where I'm able to help other people change their lives through their work in insurance. So to me, because I don't want to open a restaurant, and I know I don't want to do that. I know I don't want to work in a restaurant. I know I'm really good at that, and that's what people like for me to do. But I know every day going to work in the kitchen would not be. I would be miserable. So in thinking, okay, what do I enjoy? What's something I'm very good at? My job, customer service, making connections, things like that. Being there for people when they really need assistance is what I feel like I'm the best at.
Okay. So here's what, all right. So I hear one of the things that just struck me, you said, I don't want to work in the kitchen. I don't want to go to a restaurant every day. What I'm good at is customer service. So if you own a restaurant, why would you have to be in the kitchen?
Yeah, and you wouldn't initially, but I mean, that's something that you still have to set up. It's not, well, nothing's really easy, but I feel like that's a process in itself. And I still want to open a restaurant because I feel like that's also profitable. It's something I'm also knowledgeable about, but this is something I'm already doing. I've been doing it. I feel confident in it. I'm capable it helps me. It helps me present other opportunities to other people, and then I can use those proceeds and those profits that I have to then open my restaurant and go from
Okay.
there. So that's the end goal, to do this in insurance, and that's going to be my baseline career. Have my own office, and then use that, and I can open a restaurant. I also want to not get into real estate, but like Airbnbs and rental properties and residual income. And I'll be able to invest more in that when I have more money to invest. So that's kind of how I'm looking at it. I don't
Yeah,
know that, but
you want to funnel the money that way.
right, exactly.
How about I'm just curious. I'm just trying to pick your brain, because what I don't want you to do is if it's just a funnel of money. I mean, I get you that you get it. I get that you like it. But is it the ultimate part of the plan, or is it because you need to funnel the money? I want you to make the clear distinction between the two.
Right.
And so that's why I'm driving at this line of questioning. So do you have credit right now?
No, not. I mean, I have very small little credit. From when I lost my job a few years ago, my credit really just was terrible, and I'm working on rebuilding it right now.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Because the other thing I was going like, well, if you got credit, then do you need to wait to grow a business to funnel money? Then you may have a funnel resource now. Then you go ahead and do what you want to do. Sometimes we'll hang out in a place too long thinking we're going to get the end result, but what happens is life takes over. So you have a job and you say, well, I'm going to funnel the money from this. Yeah, but you have to remember that regular life is still going to go on at the same time. So you won't be funneling all the money. You still got to live. You might as well switch those pieces out and be living and still putting that money and time into what you ultimately want to do. Because at the end of the day, the equation is going to probably firm up about the same. You're going to be 50-50, and you will have just lost time as opposed to,
right. No,
I hope that makes sense.
It does. It makes perfect sense. And I've thought about that as well. Is it more of a passion or is it more money? But at the end of the day, in all actuality, you need money depending on for me personally, what I'm passionate about, I need the money to do so. And being my own boss and owning my own agency gives me the independency where I don't have to clock in and out every day. But I also can, again, present opportunities to other people. And also, again, it's something I do actually enjoy, and it's something I'm very knowledgeable in and been in the industry for enough time for me to feel confident. I'm actually very passionate about children, and I wanted to have a daycare. But to me, at this age, it didn't make sense for me to go backwards to try to move forward. And that's a little bit more hands-on than the insurance. I'm like, I'd rather stay where I'm confident in my work already, where I know I don't have to come in every day. The office pretty much runs itself after about a year or so. When you have management and everything in place, like my boss comes once a day. He might come for 2 hours.
So this is a short-term goal, this Allstate office. How practical is it?
To open it?
Yeah.
Very. So in order to open Allstate on a numerical side, you need $100,000. They don't want you to use that necessarily. They just want to see it. My boss has already made an arrangement with me to to whatever you want to partner with me $50,000, and it's up to me to give the other $50,000 between now and September of next year when I will start the process. So they don't pull your credit or anything like that, even though that probably wouldn't have been an issue 12 months from now. However, it's very practical. They're always looking for agents, and because I'm already in the company, it will make it much easier for me. A guy actually just left about a month ago, and he's opening his office actually in about 3 weeks from now. So I've actually seen the ins and outs of opening an agency and what that looks like, and it's not as hard as people really think it is if you have the capital to show them to open your business.
So what they want is that to have a track record. I forget what they call that, where you have to have, like, if you get ready to buy a house, it doesn't even matter how you got the funding for the house. What they want is to see the last 6 months of your bank statements to make sure that you've had money in the bank consistently over that 6 months. And so I forget what you call that term. So you need $100,000 by September 22.
Right, that's correct. And I already basically have half of that. I just need 50,000 more additional that I have to come up with, borrow, make from my Eat with Soul business or however by next year.
And you think it'll take you a year to raise 50,000?
You know, Lisa, I really don't know. I think so, because when you think of that number, it's like $50,000. Okay, in 12 months, you break it down. What does that look like monthly? What does that look like weekly? But that's the reason I reached out. I would need structure in order to be able to hit that goal in 12 months, because I know I don't have family or anyone who's going to, you know, contribute to me opening a business or give me any, you know, a leg up, if that makes sense.
So, you know, so here's the thing. Have you talked to the SBA?
No, someone was talking to me about that, but since the business is not currently existing, I don't have anything for it yet. They said that it would be a little too early right now for me to do that process because I don't actually have the business in place.
Who said that?
Someone who was referred over to me.
Okay, so the SBA didn't say that.
No. I know someone said that. Not
so I'm going to go back to my first point. Have you talked to the SBA? The answer is no.
No. Okay, no.
So, number one, you need to talk to the SBA. You need to talk to them, tell them your idea, what you're trying to do. I want to open my Allstate office. I need about $50,000 in capital. What I need is 100,000.
Right.
What are the returns on that? What do the numbers look like when, you should know that, right? So if you got this $100,000, how long will it take for you to break even? What will the returns look like? How fast will they come? Do you know the answers to those questions?
No, currently I do not know.
Okay, so that's homework. That's number two. Because you have to know your numbers in order to sell the idea for funding. Because see, here's the Small Business Administration's job is to help you formulate the business to be successful.
Okay.
So they will help you put the plan together, help you get all the licensing. You can be minority owned, you can be woman owned. So while you're out here talking about, I need $50,000, it may be $50,000 available in the SBA grant right now that don't have somebody claiming it.
Right. Okay. So I wrote that down.
Okay, so you need to have a conversation with them. Because I asked you about the $50,000. Cierra, $50,000 is not hard to get.
Okay.
There are all kinds of funding sources out there. And $50,000 I think is pretty low, particularly when an established brand like an Allstate.
Right. Okay.
So you may be putting off, 12 months from now, something that might be done in 3 to 6 months.
Okay.
Then your dream is up and running.
Right. Exactly. Okay.
I mean, the first big hurdle in it, because then you have to, how do you know what's profitable out there? So get those numbers from your current boss. They should have them. They should know what your return on investment is going to be, how quickly you break even with 100. Those kinds of pieces of information you want to have so you can put together a basic business skeleton. But you don't have to even have it all together. The SBA's job is to help you pull that all together. But if you go in there with that, then the quicker they can do it. And since you're currently working in that environment where you just had a friend who's doing it, if he's opening in 3 weeks, then he has to know what those numbers look like.
Absolutely. That's correct. Yeah.
So gather that information, make an appointment with your local SBA. There is also something called SCORE, SCORE, and they probably have a local office. SBA should be able to help you with that. And when you talk with the SBA, you want to be registered, you want to go through the process for minority-owned business as well as woman-owned business.
Okay.
Because all of that means dollars.
Right. Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised that if they're not funding resources specifically to give women of color to open in Allstate. Allstate does not have a program that is funding for more women to become partners.
Not from the financial standpoint, no. Like they're not. There's no program made to help you come up with that money. They just want to see that you have 100,000 in liquid, assets in cash, basically.
Okay. So once you have that, and then here's the other thing. Have you thought about this? Again, if you have all of those numbers and you said to 5 people, and here's one other thing. That's a limiting belief that you spouted out earlier. You said, I don't have friends and family that I can ask. You don't know that. You don't know what people come up with, what they want to come up with.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that's true.
So if you went to somebody and said, hey, there's this business venture. If I can come up with $50,000, I'm looking for 5 people who got 10 grand to invest in an insurance agency. And this is what the returns for the agency looks like. And I'm looking to pay them back over 5 years or 10 years out of their profit, and or they become partners, silent partners or whatever, in profit sharing. You don't know that you can't. Somebody might say, oh shit, if this is 10,000 that I need to give you today, and then my returns are, I don't know, 10% annually, but that's a long-term investment, meaning becomes passive income, why wouldn't I come up with 10,000?
Right. Okay.
So don't try to limit what other people will do. You just put it before them. You let them decide.
Okay.
But that's it. I mean, I'm trying to show you there's some ways to perhaps skin the cat.
That is true. That's very true. Just knowing and maybe I have to think outside of my family, maybe just people I've worked with in the past or things like that.
And you limiting your family. You know what you see. You know what they talk about. You don't know what people got in 401ks. You don't know any of that. If I'm a family member and I might been on my job for 30, 40 years and I'm getting older, but I've got a retirement fund that's got 200,000. If you're talking right and your numbers look right, I might say, you know what, Cierra? For 25% of that, I will fund you the 50,000. I'll give it to you now because I can take that out of my 501k or 501c3 or whatever it is. I have it. Take that out, give it to you, and then my return on it is better than what I'm getting. You don't know that.
Yeah.
Don't try to limit people. We worked on limiting beliefs all last week.
Yeah, it's just my family's very small. Like I can count on one hand, like my family members, and none of them have things. Can you hear me?
No, say that again. Your family is what?
Very small. And I know the people in my family, my father, my grandmother, my brother, and they don't have 401ks or they don't have savings. And I know we're close because we're so small. And I know that they don't have those things.
Well,
I don't know what he's got going on. But anyway, I kind of know,
Yeah, I get that you have a good sense. What I'm trying to get you to put out in the universe is that that's what you need. It doesn't matter to you who comes up with it, and it really doesn't matter to you how they come up with it, because people will come up with what they want to come up with.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
And you're putting obstacles in the way before you even ask. That's the habit I want you to break.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we worked on limiting beliefs. You put it out there. It's not your job. What I was trying to get you guys to see last week, it's not your job to determine the how. Your job is to do what? Ask, believe, and wait.
Yeah.
What you're doing right now is you're trying to select who to ask. Stop that.
Okay.
You just put it together. You talk to God, you ask for it, and you go about putting it together. That means you talk about it. Talk about it to your friends. You talk about it to your family. You talk about it. You're going to be surprised who God will send in your direction with it. A lot of times it's not who we're expecting.
Right.
Because while we think we know everything, we don't always know everything about something.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, I would have never expected. Well, you ain't have to. It wasn't for you to know. What's for you is to have the expectation that it's going to happen. And God will determine the how. That's not our job.
Okay. Absolutely.
So, okay. If this all stays, so yeah, that's good. Let me look at what you did send me. So, well, let me back up. We know that one of your short-term goals is Allstate. And I'm saying short-term because you're talking about the next 12 months. It's
Yes,
to open your own office. Now,
yes.
you could focus on that. So, okay, so those are a couple ways to get the money. That's a couple ways to skin that cat and actually make that happen. The other way is we talked about on the call, we talked about your side hustle.
Yes.
So you have the side hustle. What would it take for you to raise 50K in cakes? Let's do some math.
Okay.
Is it possible? As a matter of fact, I think we were doing something and I broke down some equation in the Facebook group and I think it came up with an extra 20K or something like that.
You did. Yes, I don't remember the exact numbers, but I'm gonna pull up the calculator here.
All right, but so you should know these numbers in your head. If you to make $50,000, I don't know how many cakes a year that makes or needs to make or whatever, because I don't know what they all sell. I think I use a figure like $40, but
Right.
that's not your profit. That's your retail, if I remember correctly.
Right. That's correct. Yes. Yes.
All right. So what's your wholesale on that? Like, how much do you have to subtract from that for your cost? What does it cost you to bake each cake? On average, you don't have to be exact, because I know your cakes go from something real simple to something real complex. So something in the middle.
I would say maybe. Okay, I'm trying to really think. I'm sorry. Before I just blurt out a number. I would say maybe anywhere between $10 to $15.
Okay. So you got about a $20, if that's the worst case scenario, was it $25 profit margin?
Right.
All right.
Right.
Let me grab a calculator. These numbers gonna sound real crazy. All right, so that's like 2,000 cakes or pies in a year divided by 12. That's like 100 pies a month, 167 divided by. So you would need to do like 41 pies a month or 41 cakes a month. I mean, 41 cakes a week. Is that right?
Right.
2,000 for the year. Right. Is that right?
That's what I got as well. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I don't know about baking cakes. I don't know if that's doable or not. Is that outrageous?
With me working full time, it would be. I don't know how obtainable it would be.
Right. So then that might not be a way to do it. What is a reasonable amount of cakes for you to bake in a week?
I would say I probably could do half of that, probably about 20 cakes a week. Let me think about that. Yeah, I would say probably
I'm sorry. How many?
I would say about 20.
So 20 would be a couple a day.
Right.
Or, across the weekend.
Right, exactly.
All right. So if you did 20, then you could easily get to, at that $20 profit. Oh, somebody keep texting me. Go away.
Okay.
That is, oh my God. what did I just do? 20 times 25, right? That's 500 in a week.
Right.
So you're talking about 2,000 a month times 12, 24. So you can get just about half of that in a year.
But yeah, with those
Okay.
numbers.
So you could get just about half of it in a year if you okay. And then maybe you could raise the other 25.
Right. Yes.
Now, what if Angie was joining you on this crusade?
Okay.
Could you guys do the 41 cakes? Well, is she coming back here or is she staying with you? I've heard y'all kind of bouncing back and forth.
Yeah, for right now, she's still in Gary in Indiana. So I'm not sure what those next steps look like at this time.
Okay.
Mhm.
So now the other thing is you mentioned in your note that you just got a raise.
Yes, I did. Yes.
So what's your plan for the raise? Did you sit it to the side?
As of right now, I don't have a plan per se. The raise starts in September. I was thinking about putting my son in private school because he does take special education classes, and that was suggested to me by his teacher. I don't know what that looks like financially yet. I haven't had a chance to look into it because it's been so much back to back here recently. That's an idea. But let's say I didn't do that or it doesn't work for me and him. Outside of that, I don't have any plan necessarily with that.
So is it possible you've already been living without that 15K?
Yeah.
You open an account and whatever the difference is in your paycheck automatically just goes into that savings account. So if it was, let's say, just small numbers. If your check was 100 and then all of a sudden it went to 150, then you would keep it at the 100 and send the 50 over to that account, because then that gives you 15K on top of the 24K, which I'm just trying to get you closer.
Right. I see.
because the reality is, yes, and I get the special needs and that kind of stuff, but the quicker you get to your goal, the quicker you can actually fix it long term versus short term.
Right. That's understandable.
Because even if you was to take it, and I would never say somebody their kids are not priority, but if you was to take the 15 and you put it into his education, he's doing okay. You know what the gaps are right now, right?
Right. Yeah. That's right.
If you would put it in there, and it may more than likely to chew up the whole 15, and you're no closer to getting to the goal to get permanence out of it.
Right. That makes sense. I understand what you're saying with that.
Yeah, kind of like putting water in a boat. I mean, bailing water out of a boat that's got a hole in the bottom.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay.
So that's possible. Again, I want you to just open your mind. And I think, Cierra, with you, because you've fallen back into, last week we did a lot of work about, and you mentioned it right in here. What are your personal fears? I fear. We the work last week was to stop living in the fear state. You were supposed to then write that, and it came through. What's the affirming statement? You said, I fear being misunderstood and doubt that I'll have enough time to do everything I want to do. What is the affirming statement to have? What is the opposite statement? That's what we worked on all last week.
Right.
So how did that not, you were supposed to go back and rescript those? Because here's what's happening. Here's what's happening with you, Cierra. You are falling short because as soon as you speak life into your world, you turn around and you contradict it with the fear statement. So remember, it was like, I don't know if I used this on the call with you guys, but it's like you find the magic lamp. Were you on the call when I talked about Aladdin and the lamp?
No, I wasn't on that call.
Okay. I think it was the first call. I think you might have missed it.
I did. I missed that one. Yes.
So you familiar with Aladdin?
Yes.
When he finds the lamp, what does he have to do?
Is it a rub it or something like that?
He has to rub it.
Right. Right.
So when he rubs the lamp, the genie pops out. And what does the genie say to him?
What does he have? 3 wishes or something like that? I don't remember that part.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he said you have 3 wishes.
Okay. Okay.
But okay, he says you have 3 wishes. More directly, he says your wish. Now you have 3 wishes, but your wish is my command.
Right. Okay. Yes.
God, when you think about it, when God says you have not because you ask not, trust in me, I'll give you the desires of your heart. Say translation, your wish is my command.
Yeah.
Here's the problem or the challenge for you. You're saying on one hand, oh, actually, matter of fact, in the movie, it doesn't matter what version. The problem that Aladdin gets himself into with the genie is that he's never clear. So he squanders the first 2 wishes. And the genie's arguing with him the whole time saying, you keep asking me for that dumb shit.
Right.
You keep, I told you your wish was my command. And instead of telling me what you want and believe that I'm going to get it to you, you keep floundering in doubt. And so I keep kind of trying to figure out what you want. And it takes him the whole 3 wishes to finally say what he wants.
Right.
That's what you're doing. You're walking in, I think I might have used the restaurant more to make it more hands-on. If you walked in, I hate McDonald's, but if you walked in, your kid probably likes it, right? All kids like McDonald's for some reason.
They do. Yeah. I don't know. Right.
When you take him into McDonald's, does he know what he wants?
Yep, he does.
What was he, if you say, hey, let's go to McDonald's right now, what would he tell you he wanted?
A cheeseburger and fries and lemonade.
Does he want it that way or does he want the Happy Meal version?
Either way, it don't really matter. As long as he has those items, he don't care if it comes in a box or a bag. That's the only difference.
Okay, he is more interested in food than he is a toy.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Now, that's because you know it. But let's say this. You walked in there tomorrow and you got him just what you know that he wants. And you took it home because he wasn't with you. He's like, Mom, I don't want this. I want a fish. What would be your response?
I don't know. This is what you always eat. That's probably what I would say.
Like, what the heck you talking about? That ain't what you've been.
Yeah. Exactly.
You'd be confused.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. You're confusing God, Cierra. As confused as you would be about him changing his mind, when you say, I want to be a multimillionaire or I want to own my own business, he says, okay. But then you say, but I doubt how you're going to get me the money. He asked you to figure that out. Yeah. He told you to tell him what your desires are. So what I'm saying is you're telling him what you want at the same time, then you're casting all the doubt on his ability. You say like, I want this, but you're not able, you're not capable of getting it for me. So the belief is not there. That's why you're not getting it.
But see, this is the thing. With that question, I just answered, and maybe it looked like a black and white question. So I guess I should have put no fears and no doubt.
Well, no, not that. But now, if you hadn't gone through last week's class with me, I would say your answer is fine.
Okay.
But because we went through that, and I just told you guys that it was important that you put on the alter ego and restricted your thinking.
Okay.
Because when you send out a certain thought, you send out a certain wave pattern, a certain level of energy. Okay. And if you send out another thought that's even more powerful, that contradicts one that you believe more in, then it kind of cancels out. So like 1 + 1 is 2, but 1 - 1 is what? 0.
Right.
So you sent out 1 positive wavelength and 1 negative wavelength. If they're the same speed or the same force, then they just cancel each other out. So you get what out of life? Nothing.
Right. 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 That's
If
true.
you can't, you send out a positive thought at a 4 and a negative thought at a 1, then you should end up with what? +4, +3.
Right. Right.
But if you really believe, you say, well, I want my Allstate business. I want my Allstate business. And you send that out as a 4, but then you take a sigh of breath and say, but I don't know how I'm gonna get the money. That's a more convincing statement, the way I just said that. I sent that out as a 5. I'm at a -1.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You're sending contradictory messages. That's what I'm saying. And
Okay.
so you have to send out the positive. It sounds really hokey pokey. I get it. But I get that it sounds hokey pokey. But I also, what we don't like to point back to and what we don't like to believe, particularly those who grew up in the church, is that it's not just hokey pokey. Actually, that's what the Bible says. It just says it in a more complicated, sophisticated way. But you have not because you ask not is your wish is my command.
Yeah.
The issue is that we don't believe it. We don't believe that God can really do it. And so that doubt is what's part of what's jamming you up, because you have to ask, then you have to believe. The believe part is, let me give you one more example, because this may resonate with your own journey in life. How old were you when you decided for the first time it crossed your mind that you wanted to drive a vehicle?
Probably 16.
Okay. And you probably said something to some adult in your life, your mother, your father, I want a car.
Right.
Projecting that into the future. And they looked at you at 16 and said, yeah, you crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, is that, most of us do that. I don't know. I'm asking for confirming, is that yes, no?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And when you were 16, did you even have a license?
No, I didn't get my license until much later.
So that was my point. That's where I was going. Because what we say is, I want a car, a very affirming, positive statement.
Yeah.
But you didn't really mean that, because you didn't take any action until when? First thing about getting your own car is to have what?
Money.
Well, that's one. But you,
your driver's license.
even if you don't have the money, because your parents got the money, you ain't got no license.
Right, your license. Yes, I'm thinking more. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But that too. So you can use money or license, but most of the time when the kids are asking their parents for a car, they'll say, I want to get a car. Your parent can say, just like God, the parent can say, okay. You know what the parent is waiting for you to do? Pick up their first thing is that they don't got to say nothing but okay. God don't have to say nothing but okay. Because until you actually show that you believe in your own request by going to get the book to get your license, coming to your parents and proving that you understand what it means to responsibility of car. Oh, mom, dad, I got the book. Oh, that says to them, oh, Cierra talked about this car. Okay, now she done went and got the book. Hey, mom, I'm ready to take the license test. I done studied now. Oh, shoot. I got to take her to take the exam. She passed. What does that say?
I took it seriously and I really want the car, I suppose.
And you started working to it, believing. That shows her or him that you're believing that they're going to do what you asked them, and that's why you're preparing.
Right.
So ask, believe. Once you get prepared, once you got the license and all of that stuff, now you're in position to do what? Receive.
Right.
You can't receive a car that's your own if you ain't got no damn license. It don't matter who bought it.
Right.
That's the broken part in the process. Do you see how that overlays with what we're talking about? It's a big, now if you scale that into business or scale that to other areas of your life, it's really the same process. I need to put the thought out there, talk about it, live in it, visualize it. It's a part of who I am because it's part of the destination that I'm going to. Then that tells everybody and everything around you to align because that's where you're going. Everybody is clear about where you're going. Then God can say, well, she's serious. She didn't went got the license. She didn't went and studied. She didn't did this. Now your parents are saying, oh shit, I got to deliver this car now because I can't be a liar.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing. And I guess my answer to that question, I guess, was misleading. I believe that. There's nothing in my mind that doesn't believe I'll have my office. I don't stress about the money. I don't stress about where I'm going to get it from. It will come from somewhere. I'm not going to just sit on my hands and just pray for it to fall off the lap. You do have to do some work now. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, to show that I am serious about this, which is why I believe my boss said that he would give me half of that. That's a big investment to making someone if you don't believe that. He is very tight and meticulous about where his funds go. So I just want you to know that I am very serious and I believe it. And I will open my office in 12 months because that is going to be what's going to be my stepping stone to the other things that I also want to do on the back end of that. However, I just don't know. Sometimes my time as a single parent, now my mom is gone. She was a big help to me. Everything kind of falls on me. I just don't know about the time. That's where I'm trying to make the time, but I have to still sleep. I have to still, well, now I have to like do more. Now I have a little less time because of stuff my mom was doing, I now have to do. I don't have anyone to kind of step in that spot, and that's okay because she did raise me to know how to do those things. That I know how to do everything she was helping me with, but now I have even a smaller amount of time. So how do I scale if I need to make 20 cases a week, or if I need to do this, and this? How do I do that? That's kind of where I'm at.
Okay, so again, we're back to time. So I needed to address that because that's the way you wrote it. And that's good. That's good for me to know that you wrote it with the perspective of just looking at this and not applying what you got out of last week's session and etc. Because if there was a disconnect there, I'd be like, we got to go right back to mindset.
Right, exactly. No. And I just wanted to clear that up. And I'm not trying to be, I can't think of the word at the moment, combative, but I just want to
that's good. That's good. I need to know that.
Yeah,
because that was concerning. Okay.
No, I believe it. Now I have the tools. It's just trying to manage it. And I don't have anyone in my family that is a business owner yet. Or that I can kind of get that. So I'm kind of leaning on my boss, but he's so busy, it's kind of hard. And I'm like, I need a coach. I need someone to kind of, who has more experience to help me, because if I'll get to my goal, but if I have help, I think that it will help me in the process, because resources or how to manage very little time, or how to, my mindset is there. It's just, okay, now how do I get out of my mind to my feet to actually hit the ground, and where do I go? Who do I go?
So, all right. So what we need to go back to the first thing, which was time management. All right. So what you probably need to do at this point, one, and I'm going to say this to you because, and this is going to sound really crazy because we were talking about money and time. You do need a coach. You need somebody you can talk and do check-ins with regularly to help you plot out the plan. My plan for you guys, because a big part of it was getting you over the hurdle to mindset, was that I was going to, the coaching, I was going to offer you guys all, not all of you, but depending on who you are and where you are, a coaching package that I'm not offering publicly. And that was 90 days unlimited, but it was $3,000. That gets you. Now, I'm going to give you a time planning module. I'm going to send you some time planning modules, and we're going to work through one of those before we get off the phone. I'm going to do that because I think you're ready to kind of move forward with this thing. I'd like to be able to do it with me more regularly. Like when we talked the last time, I was like, okay, she got to come back, because we probably would have this thing halfway standing by now, if not standing completely between those last two calls. But you had to be ready to be there. So what I am going to do with you today, one, I want to offer you that opportunity. I don't know where you are positioned right now. What I believe is I'm going to give you some funding sources too, because not only are they probably good for even just finding funding for coaching, but they're good for finding, you may find the 50K. I don't, like I said, I don't think it's that far off as you think, particularly if your mindset is right. One of these funding sources may give you the 50K right where you are right now in terms of your credit score, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm going to give those to you either way. And I'm going to give you a time planning sheet that I think you need to have. So here's what I want you to get as a takeaway. Let me go to my screen really quickly. Where's my folder? There is a time. What you need to do is box your time in. So let's do this. What's your normal work week look like, Cierra?
I work through Friday, 9 to 6 o'clock.
Woo. Okay. All right. Time blocking. What you're going to have to do is you're going to have to do some calendar blocking. And this is, are there times on your job where you're always busy, aren't you? I mean, sometimes people have, like I was talking to Angie, and I was saying, Angie, let people pay you while you figure out your business model.
Right. I tell her the same thing. Like, I don't have any time. Like, my 1 hour lunch, like even this, our call, I scheduled it at 1 because I go to lunch at 1. Outside of that, it's very rare that I get even like 10 minutes. I even had to leave my office because if I had sat in my office and did this call, people would have kept coming in there because you would assume, so I'm in my car.
Oh my gosh. Okay. And you got to be back in 1. Okay. And that's it. See, so the tough part for you is that means that you'll have to take, and then you got a baby. And so what time do you see him?
So I would say I'll get home about 7 o'clock. If I make a stop or if I work a few minutes late, I see him at 7. He goes to bed at summertime, but typically he goes to bed at 8 o'clock. So I see him for about an hour in the evening, and then from 9 until whenever I fall asleep. Typically at that time, I don't have any specific things I have to do.
I was going to say, so that time has to stay his. There's no way to negotiate that because you don't probably get enough time with him.
Not really, no.
That's
it.
And so do you get to have dinner with him or what have you in that hour, and then he's in the bed? I'm going to tell you probably from 8 to like 8:30, you need meditation time.
Yeah. Let me write that down.
So from 8 to 8:30 or 8:30 to 9, you need some meditation time where you sit quietly and gather your thoughts of the day. Then I'm assuming you want to be in the bed by 11.
Right. That's right.
So somewhere between 9 and 11 is you need to carve out, let's say at least an hour and a half. That's a 2-hour block, but an hour and a half of that needs to be intentionally focused on and I'm going to say at this point, just your business plan.
Okay.
Your business plan for Allstate, because in the grand scheme of what you have to do, you're right. That's going to be your shortest path to resistance because you just don't have enough time, awake hours in a day. Now, I'm a night owl. For me, starting at 9 and ending at 2 o'clock in the morning is fine. I don't know how your body works if that works for you.
And normally that's what it is, but then it's like my self-care part kicks in. Like, here, it's not probably healthy to have 5 hours of sleep every night, and then on the weekends I'm doing the same thing. So then I'm tired, while I was driving, or at some point, maybe in a week or two, I crash. So I just can't take it anymore. So it's
Right.
like I'm trying to, you kind of see what I'm saying? Like it's so, let me change my
Yeah.
words. I'm trying to find a way to incorporate the time I do have to be productive. And I'm okay with being up late. Most of the time I'm not asleep by 11 o'clock. I'm not going to lie to you. Because that is the only time I have to think or to budget or to write something down or to read a book or do some research. Like that's the only time I really have.
Yeah. And so but intentionally focused on one specific task right now is probably the best thing. Because if you can leverage that time to doing the business plan, that way garnering funding in, let's say, 6 months to get the 50,000 so that you could stand up your Allstate office, then that allows you, that will then, you do then go for staffing and stuff, and that allows you then more flexibility, right? Your boss is out able to do what he wants to do at this point.
Right, exactly. That's correct.
Okay. So yeah, I don't know that right now it will get any better than that. So here's what I'm saying to you, and you kind of got it. So you're not far off base at all. That's because of the majority of your day is really spoken for. And you don't have a lot of flexibility in there until you get over this first big hurdle. It's a matter of how quickly we can get you over that hurdle. Then we can reassess what's next in terms of your building the rest of the business.
Right, exactly. And that's something that I'm looking forward to in owning Allstate, because I don't have to work an exact 9 to 6. So then when later on, this is much later, like a year, 2 years, whenever, the time presents itself, I'll have a better frame of time to be able to invest the time into whatever said versus now working 9 to 6, 1 hour with my son every day, and then having to try to sleep. I drive all day because it's Atlanta, there's always traffic. So
it sure is ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you understand my pain. Oh
yeah, I see. So you're, like I said, so you're right. In your case, it is let's go for Allstate. So 9 to 6 is work. 7 to 8 is your family time with your son. You need 8:30 to 9ish just to go into solitude and meditation so that you can prepare. That's where I want you to take your affirmations and spend some time speaking things into existence. I'm going to give you this. There is something called The Secret. Are you familiar with the audiobooks? Do you have audiobook access?
I do, yes, and I'm familiar with that book. I haven't read it, but I know about it.
Okay. No, so just get, you did, okay, so get the audiobook version of The Secret.
Okay.
From 9 to just about a half hour at least. I want you to listen just to that and focus on that, because that'll help you in that meditation time. That'll help you get your mind right before you start to do some work. Then I'm gonna ask you to spend the last hour and a half to 2 hours of being awake to intentionally work on creating your vision for your business and creating the blueprint for your business.
Okay.
That will help prime your mind, if you will, if you're listening to something like The Secret, where it's giving you, it's going to do more reaffirming of what we just talked about.
Okay.
And in that way, when you are projecting into the universe, or you're projecting in the prayer and you're asking God for something, that's the guiding force around, I'm getting ready to move into this body of work, Lord, and I want you to be in control of this, because if it's aligned with what you created me for, then I know it's okay.
Okay.
I know it will work out.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's get you into that schedule for now. I'm going to send you a document that for that time. So again, 9 to 6 work, 7 to 8 family, 8:30 to 9 meditation with something like The Secret. Actually, I'm going to pick The Secret specifically for that half hour. From 9 to 11 or 9 to 12, I'm going to send you a worksheet. You're going to figure out specific pieces to work on in your business plan, your model. So it's a work planning sheet. So for you, normally I would have somebody use the work planning sheet. It would apply to their whole day.
Right.
In this case, you're going to look at it and say, this week between 9 and 12, I'm going to specifically work on this part of my plan that goes to my short-term goal, which is your Allstate office.
Right, exactly.
Everything.
One second, sorry.
Yep.
No, somebody was I'm on a conference call. Somebody was in the break room and it actually went off. So I'll be in a moment. Okay.
Everything that you're going to do between 9 and 12 will, for at least the next few months, will be directly related to you setting up your Allstate office. So that may mean, now, if you get to do cakes on the weekend and stuff like that, that's okay. But you want to focus because if you, again, if you can find funding sources, if you could, and that may be some research about funding sources, whatever, if you can come up with that money quicker because you have focused on just manifesting that, then 6 months, then that opens the door for everything else.
Okay.
So hopefully that helps a little bit.
It does. It does.
So you got a structured schedule day to day. And those first couple of things to do. So it'll be hard to contact the SBA. What you're going to have to do really is you will contact the SBA and stuff like that during the day, during your office hours. But then you will work on the stuff they tell you to work on between the 9 and 12 at night.
That makes sense. Okay.
Right? Because you won't be able to call them. It would be great if they were open, then because you could call them and get everything and work on it. But you're going to have to call them during daylight hours, which unfortunately is during the course of your workday.
I mean, that's fine. I can fit that in somewhere. So that's not
yeah, everybody sneaks those calls in. That's like dentist stuff.
Exactly.
So you sneak in those calls, but the work, the outlining the business plan, all of the steps that they wanted you to go through, focus on those steps. And each week, you're going to keep, you're just going to keep plugging through on the steps they give you until you get to the end of that. And then you're going to identify something else new that has to go with supporting your office. And then you go from there. Now, it'll be hard for me to guide you through that. As I said, I'm going to give you the tools, but it'll be hard for me to guide you through that unless I'm coaching.
Right. So I agree.
Yeah. So that's the tough hit, the rub here. I don't know, and I'm not trying to project out for you, but again, I'm going to give you some funding sources because you may be able to leverage them now. You may be able to leverage it now for coaching so that I continue to walk through the process with you and identifying what you should work on. Or you may get enough to just say, hey, shit, now I can work with the SBA and go straight into working just directly with them because I came up with the 50K. That part, your decision. Or you may want a combination of both.
Okay, right. I think combinations are better.
And so I'm assuming right now that, and I shouldn't assume that even if I made you the offer for at the reduced price of $3,000 for the next 90 days, coaching you through this process in conjunction with what the SBA is doing, you're not prepared to do that.
No, not today. And to be honest, I don't know when I will be able to do that, just based on my current finances.
Well, yep. Okay. So here's the takeaway. I got you. And you will. And so, okay. So here's that first, those affirmations. I have more money than I need for my expenses. You got, again, start putting that out there consistently. Every time you say, I don't know, no, I know, I have, and you're just waiting for it to manifest.
Okay.
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 Now I know you got to get back to work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you the document so that you can start mapping out. I'm going to send you, actually you have the audio. I'm going to send you this audio. I'm going to send you the audio. You can go back through it. And then I will send you I'm going to send you 2 documents. I'm going to send you one on time blocking. And then I'm going to send you one about weekly schedule so that you can decide what activities will go in that schedule from 9 to 12 at night.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
And you know, if something changes, which I'm positive something will change,
Yes. Me too.
and that you'll be able to come back. If you are able to come back to me in let's say the next, before the month is out, and say, hey, I got it. I need to sign up. I will honor that.
Okay.
That's not a public deal, so you ain't gonna see that nowhere out there. I'm only doing it for you guys because you have done part of the work, and I think most of you guys are primed and ready to move forward. And so I want you to get it out, and I get it, and I want to make it as affordable as possible for you.
Okay.
So okay.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Lisa.
Right.
I'm really looking forward to working with you. I know that it will happen. Even the work we have done so far, I'm very grateful for, and I'm grateful for your patience in the midst of what has transpired with the passing of my mother. But I am very confident that, like I've posted, you know, it's not the end. Everything that we deal with that seems so traumatic, and it might be traumatic, is only the beginning of something else. So I try to keep it like that.
And that's a good place that's a good place, because you're absolutely correct. And stay plugged into the group, because the group has already decided that they want to stay together.
Yeah.
That y'all want to stay together. And so there's some things, put that stuff in the group. You all may have some information that you can share with each other. I can share some stuff, but you know, I'm gonna be participating in the group. I just can't get too deep because all your stories are gonna be a little bit different. But continue to leverage that group, because everybody in there is at different places, and some people may have the questions or some of the answers for the questions that you're gonna come up with anyway. It ain't gonna always be me.
Yeah.
Because I'm learning. Everybody's always learning. It don't matter. I got like 4 coaches, man, and I feel so ill prepared when I'm talking to them.
Wow. Yeah. But that makes sense.
So, all right, darling. You have a blessed day, and I will get this document and this tape over to you probably in the next 5 minutes.
Okay, that sounds perfect. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Yep, bye-bye.